When it comes to the virus, there are reportedly 8 strains of it.
Yeah.
All of them not too different from each other is what the current understanding is. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, there are 8 strains right now. So coronavirus have two types of viruses. One is an alpha virus, which has the more minor strains of coronaviruses. Now, for example, to put this in perspective, see for coronavirus, see for common cold. There are so many benign species of coronavirus that you have every winter, which just cause your regular cough and cold. That's the alpha viruses. The beta viruses are the ones that we have to be concerned about. SARS, MERS, and now this. Now, with regards to where we are right now, there are 8 strains, and the reason there are 8 strains is because they're small mutations, what we call point mutations. Point mutations are changes that happen in a virus, really tiny changes, that does not affect the virus at all, its pathogenicity or its infectiousness. There are changes, but it's not really changing the infection pathway. The problem starts. So at this point, coronavirus is slamming humanity. There's no reason to imagine that coronavirus is getting weaker or things like that. Right now, its mode of infection is essentially perfect, where the virus infects so many people at one time. Other people keep infecting other people, and so on and so forth. When the coronavirus is not effectively transmitting to human beings, at that point, it says, wait a minute, we're not infecting as many human beings as normal. Let's do a big mutation, and that'll change this molecular structure, and that could have consequences. So the 8 strains that are there right now are all pretty benign. There's no reason for the coronavirus at this point to change its evolutionary stature. That'll change only if the virus transmission significantly lessens, and that's when you'll have a mutation in the strain.
So you're saying that if the transmission reduces, we have reasons to fear?
I wouldn't put that as reasons to fear, but just food for thought. I mean, the question people ask me all the time is it mutating? I said, like exactly what you said, the 8 strains. But none of those strains are really changing its infectiousness. Now, we're only 2 months into this real pandemic. So it remains to be seen how that'll change. But definitely food for thought. I mean, it can really, once anything mutates, that could have a problem. Now, let me put that in perspective with influenza. Now, we know there's so many vaccines that are given once in a lifetime. Let's say our BCG vaccine or your hepatitis vaccines. You give your series, you're done, you're immune. But ask yourself why we give this flu vaccine every single year. And that happens because the virus mutates. And what about the percentages of success for these influenza flu vaccines? Pretty lousy. It's about 30% efficacy sometimes, 40% sometimes, which means that every time they prepare the vaccine, during the season, the virus mutates. And that's why we have the problem. I can't tell you the number of patients who come to me and say, Dr. Fernando, I got the vaccine, I still got it. And that's because the virus sees the vaccine, makes some sort of changes in between, rendering the vaccine success poor at about 30%, 40%, depending on what year. Analogous to influenza, which is very well studied. I mean, you can extrapolate something like this with COVID-19 as well.
Considering that this again is a coronavirus and people are holding out so much hope for the vaccine, what you say kind of makes it seem like even if a vaccine were to be found, it might not be too helpful. Am I right in saying that?
Well, at this point, there's no signs of a mutation. And in order to halt this crisis right now, that's what we need, a vaccine. Sometimes it just goes away. Like, with SARS, for example, I mean, they didn't even think about a vaccine. The illness was gone so quickly and it was done. No one even spoke about a vaccine. The 10,000 cases and that's a wrap.
But this we feel will be around for a while. Just to extrapolate from the flu data that I just went through, certainly it's possible that coronavirus will follow that pathway as well. Yeah, but to immediately stop the crisis, I think a vaccine is very, very important. Later on in different seasons, the virus mutates. I mean, it's certainly possible that it'll have the flawed success rates as influenza vaccine.
It might take about 18 months for the vaccine. We are talking about the next season, all
I
said and
think,
done,
yeah,
aren't we?
great question. I think it's going to be done, end of the year. I don't think it's just 18 months. That's what I feel. The Zika virus came out in 2016. We still don't have a vaccine for that. And that's because of where you are. What happens is smaller countries, bigger, this is happening in Brazil, it's happening in South America. There's no reason or there's no interest in big companies to be working there. It's a poverty-stricken country. The other thing is when it happens in these countries to the West, oh my goodness, people are all over this. The trials that you're seeing in the States are accelerating faster than ever before. I've never seen such a vaccine process go through so quickly. I mean, the FDA is just approving rapidly to going into different phases. So I don't think it's going to take 18 months. I think we'll get it a lot quicker, hopefully by the end of the year. So because there's that kind of interest in this. Like I said, SARS, they never even tried to make a vaccine. Zika, they still don't have a vaccine. It's 5 years. It's urgency, I feel, that is very important here. Even the Ebola vaccine that came out for the Democratic Republic of Congo a couple of months ago, it was chaotic in the Democratic Republic of Congo. So it was a very urgent situation, and they kept moving forward, and they got it. So I feel the same way with this vaccine. They'll get it sooner rather than later.